Welcome to the open casket funeral of Get Your Game On. The show that you know and love is dead.
We killed it.
It's under new management, and you're looking at it.
I'm Kenley Hoover.
And I'm Brandon Gannicott.
And this is the first episode of Level Up. This week we'll be talking about the hyper-sexualized beat-em-up, Bayonetta.
And I've got a way for turning $10 into gaming gold. Oh, and by the way, nice jacket.
Bayonetta is the latest release from Platinum Studios and Sega. Keep in mind that this game is most certainly not one of the many God of War clones coming out this year. No, this game is a Devil May Cry clone, and we all know that that game came out much earlier than God of War. This should be of no surprise, of course, since Bayonetta is actually the latest offspring from a studio that is directed by the original creator of Devil May Cry. And just like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta is slick, stylish, and contains a storyline that could only have been dreamt up by the Japanese. You play as Bayonetta, a witch with amnesia who has been asleep in a coffin at the bottom of a lake for 900 years. Using various demonic weaponry, you travel across lush landscapes killing angels. Yes, angels. The messengers of heaven will come at you in a refreshing variety of shapes and colors, but will ultimately fall to your onslaught of punches, kicks, and bullets. That's about all you need to know. Seriously. The actual storyline of the game is a very convoluted tale featuring Bayonetta, an obnoxious journalist, a young girl who is either Bayonetta's daughter or her younger self. There's a useless fat comedic relief and a black bartender who runs the item shop. Apparently, Bayonetta is a sort of gun for hire for hell, and as the game goes on, a sort of web of conspiracy is weaved involving the characters and the Master of Heaven. Confused? Good. That means that you are both sane and not Japanese. The game is very easy to look at, thanks to detailed character models and scenery. The cutscenes, however, are a point of contention. Most cutscenes carry out in a very stylized CGI movie fashion. However, some will carry out in what can only be described as a pretentious, artsy, bullshit film cell style. It's kind of depressing to sit through. I mean, these cutscenes really just feel like they're a wasted opportunity for the developers. They could have easily just have shown off the game's graphics instead. The audio is fine. Sound effects and orchestrational music cue up and go with pretty much the flow of the game. However, the soundtrack of the game features a few bubblegum J-pop style songs that just get repeated ad nauseum. I mean, this really isn't a huge gripe since you'll be too busy button mashing to really notice the music. However, it's still very annoying to hear a pop rendition of Fly Me to the Moon for the 27th billionth time. The gameplay is solid. Press Y to punch, B to kick, and X to fire your pistols. String Y and B button presses together and you'll pull off one of the game's numerous wicked weave combos. There are in fact so many of these combos that you would have to be inhuman to memorize them all. Bayonetta's main weapons are her quad pistols. 2 in her hands, and 2 fastened onto her legs. Ridiculous? Definitely. Improbable? Most likely. Awesome? You bet your sweet ass it is. While the game boasts an impressive repertoire of unlockable weapons, you'll most likely just stick with the pistols, just because of their beginning level comfort and speed. One of the game's great features is the use of bullet time, or witch time, as it's called in Bayonetta. Dodge an enemy's attack at the last minute, and time will slow down for you to lay down a punishing combo string on your enemies. One downside of the witch time aspect is that the window of opportunity can be rather small and vague, which leaves you looking like a chump when you mistime your dodge and instead get smacked across the face. Another great feature is the use of special attacks. Build up your magic bar and press YB to unleash one of the game's several torture attacks on your foe. These attacks are gratuitous, gory, and downright funny at times. Now, the boss fights are epic. Their size usually takes up the full screen, and they'll sport a health bar that is pretty much 3 times your own. Thankfully, the men and women at Platinum Studios were kind enough to include mid-boss checkpoints, which saves you a lot of time and television sets from your angry controller throws. Now, the gameplay is not all well and good, though. A few dark points tend to spoil the fun at many occasions. Fixed camera controls will leave you blindsided by enemy attacks from off-screen. Rapid button mashing will quickly reduce your thumbs to whittled down stumps. The challenge rooms are aggravatingly difficult. I mean, timed enemy challenges, fine. Timed enemy challenges with fixed button pressing limits. Annoying, but still okay. Timed enemy kill challenges with fixed button pressing and kills that require a combo finish. Well, that, sir, is pull your hair out and scream profanity retarded. Like Devil May Cry before it, Bayonetta features a grading system that gives you a score at the end of each level. It's not really a gameplay flaw, but more like the game is making fun of you. I mean, seriously, after clearing a level that you've died 15 times on, only to be told that your playing ability is equivalent to a rock is pretty damn frustrating. Finally, this game features a driving sequence. This is more of a personal gripe for me, but why must all action games feature driving sequences with gaps, jumps, and enemy vehicles? It's just all filler, no killer. All in all, the game is sound. Aside from some camera difficulty, the game is incredibly fun to play and features some campy humor throughout. I found the game's difficulty to be incredibly frustrating simply on normal, but for those of you who will like a challenge and like action beat-em-ups, then Bayonetta is right up your alley.
Console gamers are used to paying $60 or so for a new game and at least $30 for used. PC gamers are privileged in this way. They have Steam. And if there's one thing Steam loves to do in addition to making owning PC games easy and painless, is offering its extensive catalog of titles for cheap. This week's pick? A little gem called Audiosurf. It'll put you back 10 bones right now, but that's a pittance to experience this trip. It defies genre, but I suppose you could call it a rhythm puzzler. The gameplay isn't really the star here. Shifting your spaceship from left to right is about as taxing as playing Bayonetta on very easy automatic mode, and I'm not convinced that failure is even possible. But it's not important. The experience is profoundly original and best shared with friends. A clever script could probably turn this game into a premier visualization app for your music library. There's an element of social networking built in, but I would urge you to use this as a launch pad for some real-life interaction. It makes me yearn for a beautiful yet impossible future in which Guitar Hero or a game similar to it could operate on the same principle, open up the track list to its users. At least part of that utopia can be had today, and I'd say that's worth your hard-earned cash.
That wraps up our 10 minutes of fame.
See you next week for the next thrilling installment,
where I will not be wearing a green shirt to a green screen shooting.